Hello again, my little conscripts, and welcome to another Mordian Glory video. In today's episode, we are going to be looking at the latest article which has just dropped on Warhammer community regarding the new Imperial Guard Codex. It is on pre-order very soon, and as a result, GW has started to give us some sneak previews of what to expect with the upcoming Astra Militarum, Imperial Guard Codex. And in this article, they discuss what I think might be the most important aspect of any Imperial Guard army, the Infantry Corps. Because as we all know, every day in the Corps is like a day on the farm. Every meal a banquet, every paycheck a fortune, every formation a parade. I love the Corps. And let me just say, this is a real roller coaster. There's some things here to be incredibly excited about. And there's a really sad end to an era, which GW reveals at the end of the article. And so without further ado, let's fix bayonets and charge right into this thing.
Attention guardsmen, the Commissariat has detected you have not yet liked this video. Do so immediately or else you will face the Emperor's wrath. And anyone who has not yet subscribed to the channel will be transferred to the penal battalions. That is all. Move out!
One quick thing I want to mention right at the beginning of this video is if you are struggling to find this article on the Warhammer community website, don't worry, I've got you covered. I'm going to make sure that there's a link to this article down in the description below. With that said, let's not mess around now. I know that this is the first preview and there's going to be a lot of excited and nervous Guard players wanting to know what the hot takes are on this thing. So, this article is about field-dedicated command, infantry, and heavy weapon squads for the three biggest Astra Militarum regiments. So that's going to be Cadians, Krieg, and Catachans. Starting off, GW has a bit of spiel about the overwhelming might of the Astra Militarum and how it's drawn from many different worlds and how they all come together to basically fight the Xenos, the Heretic, and the Traitor. Now, there's no real information in this first sentence. It's just a bit of fluff text to get you hard. Then we start getting into the meat and potatoes of the article. In the new Codex Astra Militarum, three of the most famous regiments, the Cadian Shock Troops, Death Corps, Krieg, and the Catachan Jungle Fires, all play a little differently under the new core infantry options. So guys, those of you that are hoping that Mordians and Talon and Legions and all that kind of stuff were going to get their own data sheets, we're going to get new data sheets. It was a long shot, I know, but sadly, we're sticking to the big three. It's going to be Cadians, Death Corps, Krieg, and Catachans, according to this article. Now, some of you may have noticed, what about the more generic options, like infantry squads and platoon command squads? Well, you're going to have to wait till the end of the article to find out what happens with those, but I'm going to give you a bit of very obvious foreshadowing. It's not good news. But before we get into the bad stuff, let's get ourselves hyped up with some good stuff. GW now confirms that there is a separate datasheet with individual options for infantry squads, heavy weapon teams, and command squads, offering more chance for strategy and synergies. Now, to be clear, that is for each regiment. So now you have Cadian command squads, Cadian infantry squads, Cadian heavy weapon teams. You have Catachan infantry squads, Catachan command squads, Catachan heavy weapon squads, and you have got Krieg heavy weapon squads, Krieg infantry squads, Krieg command squads. Now, that's all really cool to know that we're getting so many different data sheets, and each one of those different data sheets has its own ability. So that's, I suppose, fairly run-of-the-mill for 40k 10th edition, but it's still pretty exciting to know that, for example, the Cadian heavy weapon squad is now going to have different rules to the Catachan heavy weapon squad, which is going to have different rules to the Krieg heavy weapon squad. Of course, there's also a little bit of a question mark being raised here because we know that we're getting about 66 data sheets, roughly that, give or take one or two, 66 data sheets with the new Guard Codex. We know that things like Strachan and Harker are probably going away. We know that some of these data sheets are going to be made up of the kill team, not the kill team, the combat patrol data sheets. But if you think about it, we've gone from having 1 heavy weapon squad data sheet to we're going to have 3 heavy weapon squad data sheets. We've gone from having 2 command squad options. We're going to have 3 command squad options now. So I didn't actually expect them to give us individual rules for the Catachans and the Cadian heavy weapon teams. I thought those would just be still the same. So a while ago, when we learned how many datasheets came out, we did a bit of rough math on stream. We almost pinned down what we thought was gonna go and what was gonna come. That maths doesn't really track anymore because we've got more additional datasheets here in the infantry. Now that means potentially, and of course this could all come out that I took a calculated risk, but damn, my bad at math. You know what I mean? This could all come out that we actually have some more data sheets, or the combat patrol ones weren't included in that total that GW gave. But it could mean that we have lost some more units that we weren't expecting to lose. Because remember, if we're on 66 data sheets, for every data sheet we've gained, we're probably going to have lost 1 because we've got about 60 odd now. So that's just something to bear in mind. Great, new data sheets, everything. It's going to be getting its own unique thing. Catachan's going to play a unique way. Cadian's going to play in a unique way. Awesome. Let's get the hype train rolling. Don't get me wrong, but just keep at the back of your mind that question mark for what we have gained. What has gone to the big legends in the sky that's too far away, so we can't visit. But let's get back to these abilities and these data sheets. So covering fire, better Overwatch, very similar to the current heavy weapon squad 1. The Cadian stands ability has changed significantly, and this is for your Cadian command squads. So previously, what it used to do is basically be a watered down version of the BBB, the big bullshit banner from 9th edition. And essentially you could ignore all sort of modifiers with it, and there was all sorts of like funky ways that kind of interacted with the game. And honestly, most people just forgot about it, unfortunately. But it was actually a really good ability. I think most people forgot about it because most people weren't using Cadian command squads, and they were kind of overshadowed by people taking Krieg blobs and stuff like that. But the new Cadian stands ability is, it's some ways. I mean, in some ways it's better because you're less likely just to forget about it. In some ways, you could definitely say it's a bit of a downgrade in terms of its potential, but I think it's a lot simpler, and I like this change. Basically, Cadian stands, they've got the old infantry squad ability. So if you are near an objective marker, you have the benefit of cover against ranged attacks. Now, I can definitely see people arguing that that's a downgrade, and I wouldn't even argue against that. Going from ignoring all modifiers to you have the benefit of cover on boards like on 10th edition boards, when you've got cover coming out your asshole, maybe not as impactful. You've probably got cover anyway, right? But it is much simpler. People are much more likely to remember it, and also you've got to try and remember what's it going to stack with. What's the Cadian infantry squad's new datasheet ability going to be? That's one thing we haven't seen. So it's not a bad ability at all. As someone who's run that ability on the old infantry squads, I always found it actually surprisingly useful. Just basically pretty much the entire game I'm running around on a 4+ save, and if I combine that with certain orders, I can get even higher than that. So it was never a bad ability. I actually think overall it's an upgrade in terms of simplicity. It's an upgrade in terms of people remembering. It's an upgrade in terms of people just actually using it. But I could definitely see those hardcore Cadian fans who are like, no, I love my old ability. It was really, really useful. When you came across those armies that were like, man, I want it. I love it. I could definitely see those people arguing that they're a little disappointed in it. But for the majority of people that are probably coming into Cadians fresh, this is definitely an easy ability to keep track of. And it's one that will have a measurable impact and be just a base stat line improvement for all of your guys. Because what you've got to think about is, it's all well and good ignoring all modifiers, but what if you play a game where your opponent doesn't have any ignore modifiers? Doesn't have any modifiers, like they're not -1 to hit, they're not -1 to wound, they just don't have those. Well, then your ability is just completely useless, but you're pretty much always going to benefit, even against really close combat armies. They've always got a little bit of range. You're always going to benefit from having a bit of an extra save, just being a bit more durable. Moving on from the Cadians, we're getting to the bit which I think most people are going to be interested in because everybody loves the Death Core of Krieg. We have got the ability reveal for the new one-man heavy weapon teams, the Kriegers. And we've also got the reveal for the Krieg command squad. So the heavy weapon gunners have got final duty. Basically, when they die on a 3+, they get to do their attacks. So to read it out verbatim, it's while this unit contains a fire coordinator. Remember, that's like there's like 3 weapon teams. There's that one guy who's the fire coordinator. Roll each time a heavy weapon gunner model is destroyed, roll 1d6. On a 3+, do not remove it from play. The destroyed model can shoot after the attacking model's unit has finished making its attacks, and then it's removed from play. This is a phenomenal ability. Some people are going to poo-poo it. Some people are going to be like, oh, who cares about that? Fire whatever 3+. This is a phenomenal ability. Okay? When your guys die and they're armed with... So the reason why some people might poo-poo this is they're like, well, why do I care about my stubbers shooting back? Bro, we're not talking about stubbers here. We're talking about those big-ass flamers. What were they, like 18-inch range flamers or something insane? Someone in the comment section will be able to correct me, but the big-ass heavy flamers. Oh, yeah. You've killed 3 of my heavy weapon guys. That's okay. I'm just going to hit you back with 3 auto-hitting flamers. Well, to be fair, on average, it would be 2. Because it's on a 3+, but potentially 3 of these flamers. Oh, you've just destroyed my fragile heavy weapon teams armed with las cannons. Well, guess what? On a 3+, I'm going to shoot back. This ability fundamentally resolves one of the biggest issues with heavy weapon squads, which is they're fragile. So if they move out and then shoot, and then the enemy can just fire some bolt rounds into them, and then they'll die, and then they've not really achieved very much. This is a phenomenal ability because it means you can move your heavy weapon squads out, you can shoot them, and then when the enemy shoots back, they're going to potentially get hit by 3 big flamers, or they're going to potentially get hit by 3 las cannons. It just creates a dilemma for your opponent, and this is one thing that this is a saying I've used on the channel a few times. You don't want to create problems for your opponent because problems have solutions. You want to create dilemmas. You want there to be no good option, because for your opponent, if they target these guys and they kill them, then they're going to get hit by the las cannons. If they go, well, okay, then I won't target them, I'll shoot something else. Well, guess what? Now your guys are still alive in your next turn, and you're going to hit them with the las cannons. So I think this is a really, really good ability. And actually, looking at both of these, looking at Final Duty and Covering Fire, I think GW has actually put a lot of effort with these 2 abilities to kind of resolve that fragility problem with heavy weapon teams. Because this one, they're going to shoot you back. They might shoot you back, to be fair. This one is, okay, you move out. Now I get a chance to overwatch you. Both of these units basically have abilities which mean that they create dilemmas for your opponent, and that they aren't just potentially one-shot pop and then they get swept away. They're one-shot, then they get to do something, either overwatch or they get to fire back. Either way, it's going to cause problems for your opponent. So both of these heavy weapon abilities are fantastic. Really, really well thought out. Really good. And I like the difference between them, because this one's like, 1 unit will get to do it. You're going to have to pay a CP for Overwatch. You are going to hit on a 4+. Okay? So that's like, it's guaranteed, but it's a bit more like resource intensive, and it's a bit like less reliable because it's hit on a 4+. This one is like, okay, it's not guaranteed because it's on a 3+. If you just roll 1s and 2s, you're just not getting your Final Duty off. But it's not going to cost you a CP. And you could do this on multiple units in a turn if you just like lose like 9 of these guys in a turn. So I like the difference between the 2. The Cadians, it's guaranteed, but the firepower is potentially less reliable. The Kriegers, it's not guaranteed, but you can do it on a wider scale potentially. So it's a good the ability to do something similar. They have a similar sort of a role in your army, but they do that role a bit differently, and that's going to appeal to different playstyles. Some people are going to want to be like, I want to make sure this happens. Some people are going to be like, let's roll the dice. Moving on from the heavy weapon teams, let's take a look at the Krieg platoon command squad, and they have got the Grim Determination ability. While this unit contains an officer, you can target this unit with stratagems even while it's battle shocked, and orders issued this unit do not cease to affect this unit if it becomes battle shocked. Yes! 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 I am now fully erect. This is the best command squad so far. The fact that we now have a way to insulate our units from battle shock for our orders is peak, is amazing. It's so important, because one of the things that people in the other factions maybe didn't appreciate is that Guard's army rule, which is orders, bear in mind, we've just been confirmed that orders are still going to be a thing. I mean, I don't think anyone expected them to go anywhere, but they have now been confirmed in this article. But bear in mind that a lot of armies or factions didn't appreciate that the Imperial Guard's army rule, which was the chain of command, which was the orders, was one of the only army rules in the entire game that could be just stopped by battle shock. If you're a Chaos Space Marine and you do a Dark Pact, you can still Dark Pact if you're battle shock. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong there. Even if you fail the Dark Pact, you fail the roll, you still get the result. You just take some mortal wounds. Basically, you always get to do your Dark Pact. Guard, it was like you fail battle shock, that unit no longer benefits from your army rule. It was like, and we were one of the only factions that this happened to. Now, obviously, it's still potentially a thing. It's still kind of been confirmed here that orders are still going to get diddled by battle shock, but at least there's a mechanic now. GW has given us a goddamn olive branch. They've given us something that allows us to keep our units ordered even when they are battle shock. That's a big deal. And they've also got the old platoon command squad ability here, which is you can still do stratagems on them even if they are battle shock. So that's really, really good. One thing I am going to be curious about is how this if this hints anything towards commissars, because there was a big argument in the index of, do commissars insulate you from orders or not? Because basically you do an order, you then do a battle shock test, you execute a guy, you're then no longer battle shocked. But how the wording kind of implied it was that you order, you become battle shocked, so you lose your order, then you get executed, so you lose your battle shock, but at that point it's too late because you've already lost your order. And it was really like, well, what commissars are like stopping you from being battle shocked, which is okay, I suppose, but there's not really much benefit to that because you still lost your order. So what I hope this shows, and I've got no idea if this is the case, but what I hope this shows is that commissars are also going to basically have the ability to insulate you from battle shock and losing orders. And I hope that the commissar execution ability basically says, execute a guy, this unit is no longer battle shocked, and orders issued to this unit do not cease to affect this unit if it becomes battle shocked. I hope they basically semi-lift this wording and transfer it onto how commissars work with summary execution. Fingers crossed. That covers the Kriegers and also the Cadians, but a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one, we've got some updated Catachan rules. And what's crazy is they've given the Catachan command squad its own rules now. It's not just a generic command squad, it's now a Catachan command squad. And they've also taken those old heavy weapon teams, those Catachan heavy weapon teams, and they've given those their own abilities as well. So Catachan bros, you've gone from having one infantry datasheet to now you've got your command squads which do something, and you've got your heavy weapon squads which do something. Of course, this may not make up for the sting of us potentially losing Strachan and Harker, but still, it's an olive branch, right? And it's more ways that you can run your Catachan army as a pure Catachan army and feel the steel, feel the muscles, feel the cold steel and courage. So going over to the heavy weapon teams, bring it down. Very simple ability here. Each time this unit targets a monster vehicle with a ranged attack, reroll a hit roll of 1 and then reroll a wound roll of 1. That's solid. That is just solid. Straight up damage boost. I know a lot of people might just look at that and think, oh, it's fairly boring, it's fairly generic, but it's super, super solid, guys. Rerolling ones to hit, rerolling ones to wound against your target of choice. If take aim still exists in the same capacity that it is now, where you get +1 to your weapon skill or +1 to hit, however they might change it, that means you'll have heavy weapon teams that could hit on 3s, rerolling 1s, with against the majority of targets with their lads cannons, wounding on 3s, rerolling 1s. It's just solid. It's just super, super solid. You can never, ever, ever look down on a straight up damage boost. So there's not much to say about this, but what's kind of crazy is that I think these heavy weapon teams could become the go-to for a lot of people, because even though we've got things like Final Duty and we've got things like Covering Fire, those are great, but they're not guaranteed, right? Final Duty, you could just not roll your 3-ups. Covering Fire, you could just not have the CP available for Overwatch. Bring it down. You need no CP. You don't need the enemy to kill you for your ability to go off. You just reroll hit rolls on 1, reroll win rolls on 1. Straight up, no messing about. So it's simple. It's effective. I like it a lot. These, for me, I wouldn't be surprised if when we've play tested all this and it's come out in the wash, that the Catachan ones become a really, really popular choice. And then we've got the Catachan Command Squads, Gung Ho Command. And again, it's super straightforward. It's super simple, and it's super effective. While this unit contains an officer, ranged weapons equipment models in this unit have the assault ability. Amazing. Just amazing. Movement wins games. Assault, basically, from a guard perspective, because we're not often likely to charge into combat with our basic infantry, unless there's a particularly gung-ho commissar around, but which are the only commissars that survive with the Catachans. But my point is, you now have Catachans, which, we're presuming here, guys, this may not come out of the wash, but we're presuming you could have Catachans which could scout, then move, then advance, then still shoot. That is fantastic. It means that you can get your guys up the board. It's going to improve your screening capability. It's going to improve your primary objective capability. It's going to mean that you can keep fighting whilst on the move. You're not diminished. You're not having to sacrifice firepower for maneuverability. You get both. Again, it's just solid. Bring it down. Gung Ho Command. They may not be the fanciest abilities. They may not have all the bells and whistles. But I have a gut instinct. I have a gut instinct that these end up being the best ones. As crazy as that sounds, some of you might be shaking your head. Crazy it sounds, I think because of their simplicity, because of the fact they just related to damage output and maneuverability, just two simple core tenets of 40k, I think that these might end up being the best and most popular ones. Who knew that Catachan meta was incoming? That just about covers all of the information we're going to get regarding the datasheets and abilities. There's a bit of closing text here in the article. Using these units in unison helps the Ashmatan punch above their weight in war zones rife with superhuman soldiers, ancient technological marvels, and monsters beyond mortal imagination. Not that any commissar worth his salt would let his troops express the idea that the Imperium is lacking in offensive capability. So just a nice little bit of flavor text at the end. Then we get a little hint about what we're going to see next, with a host of new detachments and a new option to take Rogel Dawn tank commanders. 6 Rogel Dawn meta incoming. Definitely 6 Rogel. People won't even care if 6 Rogel Dawns is bad. That's the thing. People won't even care if it's bad. People will run the 6 Rogel Dawn army. With a new host detachment, a new option to take Rogel Dawn tank commanders, there's plenty to dig into in Codex Ashmatan. Our coverage continues this week ahead of the Deathcore Krieg army set arriving for pre-order on Saturday. So Rogel Dawn tank commanders were mentioned in the reveals. They've now been confirmed. That is awesome. Really looking forward to see what articles come out day by day. I am going to be covering the articles day by day. So all of this is really positive. And then there's a bit of a sad one. It's not even a bit sad one. It's a really, really sad one. So this asterisk is in relation to this little sentence up here, okay? And they sort of tucked it away at the bottom of the article. The generic platoon command squad and platoon infantry squad datasheets have been removed. That was a bad impression of Taps, by the way. Oh, man. Sad. Just sad. I mean, from a strategy, tactics point of view, we've not actually lost anything, as you saw with the data sheets and with the abilities that have been revealed. their abilities have been folded into other command squads. Their ability, their data sheets may have gone, but their abilities live on. The reason it's just sad is it's an end of an era. You see these codexes behind me. I've got ones from 5th edition, 4th edition, 3rd edition one just there. And going back to 2nd edition as well. What's that, like 35 years or something mad? Oh, well, let's say 30 plus years. Platoon command squads, infantry squads have held the line in the name of the Emperor. And now they're gone. If you're a new player looking at this, genuinely it's not going to affect you. And if you're someone that started in 10th edition, genuinely it's not going to affect you, because you've got like I said, their abilities still live on. But if you're an old grognard like me, who's been playing with the same army, and I still have the same models from when I was 11 years old, those models can still be used, of course, don't get me wrong, but the humble infantry squad has finally gone into legend. Or it's not even gone to legend, it's been removed. After 30 plus years of faithful service, after 10 editions of doing what had to be done to ensure the safety of the Emperor's realm, after generations of holding the line, their watch has now ended. 07 salute emoji down in the comment section. Pour one out for the platoon command squad. Pour one out for the infantry squad. Gone, but never forgotten. And on that note, let's wrap this bad boy up. So, lots of things to be excited for, lots of sneak peeks into how the new guard coach is going to work, and Rogal Dawn tank commands and all that kind of stuff, but a little bit of a bitter-sweet pill to swallow as well. I think we all knew the generics was going away, but it's still sad to see it go. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Are you excited about these changes? Are you sad about some of these changes? And out of the 6 abilities that we've seen, how would you rank them? Which ones do you think are the best? Which ones do you think are the worst? And finally, how ready are you for the Rogal Dawn mare? Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing, truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full time without the incredible and generous support of my members, so thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bonbon Vert, Lord Pryor, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.